Hello everyone, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with another video, and welcome to the month of December. For the month of December, I chose to do WWF's In Your House Seasons Beatings. And it took place on December 17th, 1995 in the Hershey Park Arena in Hershey Park, Pennsylvania. On commentary, you got Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler on commentary, because of course you have Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler on commentary for this era of the WWF. So, In Your House Seasons Beatings starts with the In Your House logo being pelted by snowballs, and then it transitions into the main show. And as you see for the set of the In Your House set, it's littered with Christmas trees and Christmas lights and everything to make it all Christmassy. But next to the house, as you walk down the aisle, since it's a very long walkway, there in the middle of the walkway to the right is a filthy, disgusting pig pen, which would be housing the hog pen match on this show. That would be between Triple H and Henry Godwin. So, on to the show. Opening contest is a tag team grudge match, as you got the team of the 1-2-3 Kid and Sid and Psycho Sid, with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase in their corner, taking on Marty Jannetty and the WWF Intercontinental Champion Razor Ramon. Now, this was a solid tag team match, a very good match to start this show off, but as you go through this entire show, after the first match, yeah, it definitely shows that this is a 1995 WWF show, and WWF in 1995 was not a good... WWF in 1995 was not a good year for the Federation. Yeah, 95 was not a good year for the Federation, and this shows on this show, because it's part of that 95 stank. So overall, this was a good tag team match. Razor got the victory when he hit a top rope bulldog on Psycho Sid, and Sid got pinned. 1, 2, 3, Razor and Marty are your victors. Razor tries to hit the 1, 2, 3 Kid with a Razor's Edge, but the 1, 2, 3 Kid escapes. Oh, and watching this match was Goldust. And Todd Pettengill, you know, he's there saying, "Goldust, what are you doing out here?" And then Goldust hands Todd Pettengill a golden envelope, and he says, "Hand this to Razor Ramon." And yes, he is oozing and crushing on Razor Ramon here. Yes, this leads into what was supposed to be their feud, I think, for the IC title, and there was originally supposed to be them in a Miami street fight at WrestleMania 12, but that ended up getting scrapped in favor of Goldust and Roddy Piper's Backlot Brawl and the Hollywood Backlot Brawl. I'm still wondering how the Miami street fight would have panned out between Goldust and Razor Ramon. Who knows how it would have gone down. Anyway, like I said, the first match was really good. And now we're getting into our dip in quality. And right before we're getting into our second match, Jerry the King Lawler comes to the ring and he introduces Jeff Jarrett. So yes, Jeff Jarrett had just returned to the World Wrestling Federation, and Jeff Jarrett is coming down from the ring into the ring, and he is saying, "I am going to be the first participant in the 1996 Royal Rumble." So yes, Jeff Jarrett just announces that he is going to be the first participant in the 1996 Royal Rumble. Oh, yes, and the King presents Jeff Jarrett with a plaque of the Golden CD. Basically, he hands Jeff Jarrett this giant CD that's encased in a giant photo album, or an entire album, or something like that. Or in a frame, I meant to say. The Golden CD picture frame. And he gives it to Jeff Jarrett. Then we get into our second match as Jeff Jarrett is on commentary for this one, as you got Ahmed Johnson defeating Buddy Landel with Dean Douglas, aka Shane Douglas, as he's going under the name Dean Douglas, as he played this Dean. Oh yes, Shane Douglas in the Federation. Yeah, Shane Douglas still has resentment towards the WWE for all these years. Yeah, you know, Shane, when are you just gonna get over it and stop being such a big baby about it? I know you have no love lost towards Vince McMahon, but Vince is not even in charge anymore. Either way you slice it, yeah, Buddy Landel. Who is this guy? Yeah, literally, who is Buddy Landel again? Yeah, he comes out to the 1991 Ric Flair theme that Ric Flair had when he came to the Federation in 91. Yeah, he's coming out to the same music Ric Flair came out to when he came to the Federation in 91. And yes, Landel ends up getting completely destroyed by Ahmed Johnson, because of course Landel would get destroyed by Ahmed Johnson. And then we get this. Then Jerry Lawler tries to interview Ahmed Johnson, and Jerry Lawler's like, I don't want to interview Ahmed Johnson, but fine, I'll try to interview Ahmed Johnson. And then Jeff Jarrett hits Ahmed in the back with the frame, with the golden CD frame in it, and then of course Jarrett is trying to attack Ahmed, and Ahmed's like shaking it off, he's shirking it off, and he's chasing Jeff Jarrett to the back. So yeah. So now we're getting into this interview segment for WWF.com or something like that, or on this, that Razor Ramon is backstage, and he's got a towel, and he is being interviewed by Todd Pettengill. Yeah, Todd Pettengill comes backstage, and he's interviewing Razor, and he talks about Razor's upcoming IC title match this Monday on Raw against Yokozuna. And he says about Yokozuna, who's the two-time WWF champion, he says this about Yoko. He says, "Yo, big man, you want it? Come and get it." And then Todd Pettengill gives Razor the golden envelope from Goldust, and Razor's face is like shocked beyond belief. And then he just walks off, and then the segment ends. Now we're getting into the worst match on this show, and it's a hog pen match. Hoss? Yes, that's right, a hog pen match. A dirty, disgusting pig pen is being used for this match. It's an actual pig pen with actual pigs. As you got Hunter Hearst Helmsley defeating Henry Godwinn, with special guest referee Hillbilly Jim. That's right, Hillbilly Jim is the special guest referee for this hog pen match. You see Henry Godwinn come out, and he slops Hunter with some pig slop. They're fighting on the outside, inside the ring, outside the ring. They're brawling towards the pig pen. Hunter gets his back rammed into the pig pen's metal gate, and he gets this really nasty gash across his back. Of course, Henry Godwinn also gets whipped into it as well. The match ends when Hunter dumps Henry into the pig pen, And then right as Hunter gets his hand raised, he shoves Hillbilly Jim, and then Hillbilly Jim shoves Hillbilly Jim shoves Hunter, and then of course Henry Godwinn picks up Hunter. He grabs onto Hunter and he press slams him into the pig pen face first. And Hunter is trying to get out of the disgusting pig pen, and it's the grossest thing ever. I know Triple H is probably wanting to forget about this. It's probably the one part of his career he really regrets being involved in, and I don't blame Hunter for ever wanting to regret being involved in a disgusting, filthy pig pen match or hog pen match. So we got 3 matches out of the way. A good tag team match, a really basic squash match, and then just probably one of the worst matches I ever saw. Well, definitely up there as one of the worst matches I've ever seen in the hog pen match. And now we're getting into our next match, and it's Owen Hart with Jim Cornette. Owen Hart with Jim Cornette defeating Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Okay, so this match stems from the fact that during a match on Raw, Shawn Michaels collapsed from an enziguri that was executed by Owen Hart that had knocked Shawn Michaels out, and Shawn Michaels is out with a concussion. Diesel, Shawn Michaels' longtime best friend, vows revenge against Owen Hart. And yes, Diesel himself was in the midst of his own heel turn that he was going through after he had lost the WWF title to Bret Hart at the Survivor Series the previous month. So we're into the match between Diesel and Owen, and it's not as good. This match should have been better. Owen Hart and Diesel should have done so well, but it sadly wasn't the case at all. I mean, Diesel gets disqualified when he punches out a referee, and then he delivers a jackknife powerbomb to Owen. Yes, Owen does get some offense of trying to work Diesel's legs, but even so, Diesel still ends up standing tall even though Diesel got disqualified. And we see Owen get powerbombed straight to hell. And then I think Jim Neidhart comes out, and Jim Neidhart then gets powerbombed straight to hell. Now we're getting a commercial for the 1996 Royal Rumble. Yeah, it's an ad. We're getting an ad that's showcasing the 1996 Royal Rumble. Now we go backstage as Jim Cornette with the British Bulldog is being interviewed for his upcoming WWF title match that's coming up next, as the British Bulldog will challenge Bret Hart, as this is a rematch from 3 years ago, 3 years earlier at SummerSlam 92. Jim Cornette references how Bret Hart is jealous of the British Bulldog, jealous of the fact that the British Bulldog beat him back in 92, and that Bret had been seething with jealousy ever since he lost that fateful match in Wembley Stadium. And Jim Cornette's tennis racket had this Santa on it. Of course, Bret Hart is being interviewed by Todd Pettengill, and Bret says, "Yes, I had to live with the pain of losing my Intercontinental Championship 3 years ago back in 92. I still replay the images from Wembley Stadium, but tonight is going to be a different story." And before we can get into the WWF title match, we get this segment with Santa Claus. Okay, so the $1 Million Man comes out, and he berates the crowd for believing in Santa Claus, and he talks about how all of you can be bought. Ted DiBiase is saying the same, that maybe Santa Claus can be bought as well, as you see Savio Vega coming out with Santa, handing out presents. Yes, Savio Vega is handing out presents with Santa Claus. And then DiBiase says to Savio, "You say that this big fat oaf can circle the world in one night, given how big the planet is, to circle the entire globe in one night. Yeah, this big fat piece of crud." And Savio shaking his head, yeah, and then Santa turns on Savio and beats up Savio along with the $1 Million Man, and then Vince McMahon's like, "What is this? That can't be Santa. I cannot believe Ted DiBiase would buy Santa Claus." And Jerry Lawler says, "Believe it, McMahon. Believe it. He's desecrated your favorite holiday." And then Savio gets back up, and right as Santa and DiBiase are leaving, we see Santa brawling in the aisleway with Savio Vega. Santa's hat comes off. And yes, you want to know who was the Santa Claus, who was under the Santa Claus beard during this segment at In Your House Season's Beatings? Why, it was none other than ECW original, the late Balls Mahoney. The late Balls Mahoney was under the Santa Claus hat. Under the hat and beard, that was Balls Mahoney. So yes, Balls Mahoney was brawling with Savio Vega. And now we're getting into it for the main event for the WWF Championship. As we have the challenger, the British Bulldog, with Jim Cornette and Diane Hart. Yes, that's right, Bulldog's wife and Bret Hart's sister. Taking on Diane's big brother, the eldest of the Hart children, the WWF champion himself, Bret the Hitman Hart, defending his WWF Championship against his brother-in-law, against the Bulldog. And this was a really good main event. This was probably one of the better main events we got during 1995, but I'm not complaining. Bret and Bulldog had great chemistry in the ring, great work. But the difference between their match in Wembley Stadium and this match, Bret gets busted open. Yes, that's right. Bret actually bleeds in this match. He gets busted open, sent into the guardrail. He is bleeding buckets. And you see the corner of the outside on the mat, the outside mats on the outside. You see that being covered in Bret's blood. Bulldog is working Bret over really good in this match, but in the end, the Hitman manages to triumph. 1, 2, 3, and Bret the Hitman Hart retains the WWF Championship. So, yeah. Oh, wait. There was another match I forgot to talk about. And yes, this match was really forgettable, but that happened before the WWF title match. And that was The Undertaker defeating Mabel aka Viscera, or King Mabel, aka Viscera, the late Viscera, with his Men on a Mission partner, Mo. Yeah, this was stemming from the fact that Mabel was still relishing in beating The Undertaker back at King of the Ring, back in June at the King of the Ring. And this is The Undertaker getting his revenge, and he also gestures that he wants to be the WWF champion. And right as the show was going off the air, we got an interview with The Undertaker, as it was announced by Gorilla Monsoon that the Undertaker will be the number one contender for the WWF title. And that, in turn, enrages Diesel for the fact that the Undertaker just jumped in line in front of him. So yeah, Diesel confronts the Undertaker, talking about how he's not happy about this. And the Undertaker says, it's the way it's gotta be. I, too, want to be the World Wrestling Federation champion. And then the show ends. So that was In Your House Seasons Beatings. Final thoughts? The show itself, it had a great main event with Bret and the Bulldog. And everything else on the show had that 1995 stank to it. Whether it be the casket match with Taker and Mabel, or the hog pen match, or even that stupid squash match. Yeah, the opening tag team match was okay, but that was about it. Anyway, I will see you guys in January, wrestling fans, as I will do WCW's Sin 2001 in January. See ya!